James, a good Church of the Redeemer. Welcome. James, come on up, my friend. I'll let you choose your chair. You did okay, that's right.
I was just telling Pastor Dale, I thought I timed it okay, but...
I thought I may have to preach a message. I looked around, I didn't see James anywhere. I thought, okay, what message will I preach tonight? But you should have. Good to have you with us.
It's good to be with you.
Welcome back.
I think I shared this story one time when I was first ministering many years ago. The pastor was stressing to make certain that I kept the message within a certain time. So for breakfast, and I don't know whether this is true or whether I've added a lot of yeast to the story over the years, but I believe it's true.
How big was that fish?
Well, yeah, exactly. So my wife would normally have the vitamins out for me on the breakfast tray, but on this particular day, the vitamins were green, and I had no idea what they were. And by the time I took them to rush to church, my stomach started, it was like a thunderstorm starting to develop. And I asked what was going on, and she said, just to ensure that you were within time, those pills are colon cleanse as opposed to vitamin C. So anyway, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it sounds good.
I promise not to do that to you. I promise you that your refreshments will not have that effect upon you.
Yes, sir.
Well, James, it is so good to have you back. It's been a couple of years since you've been with us. Of course, all of us have gone through that COVID experience, and it's great to be back and have you back in the house with us. I just want to take a few moments tonight and ask you a few questions. Let you share the wisdom of life that you've experienced in so many different categories with the congregation, and just to be at home with us tonight, your family. And, we're involved in a series on friends. I want to talk just a little bit about friendships in our life. And of course, I know that you have a very strong friendship with Tony Dungy, and great friendship there that has been very beneficial to you. And of course, you've had the opportunity over the years in sports to observe people who choose friends wisely and people who choose not so wisely. Talk about the power of friendship and in your own life and what you've observed among professional athletes and just in the world in general.
Well, as we know, friendship in general can be very strengthening if you are surrounded with the right group of people. And Pastor Dale, I remember maybe the best example that I can give in terms of surrounding yourself with the right friends to stay on the straight and narrow. And everything with me is biblically focused. The foundation is the Word of God. And I know God talks about not being unevenly yoked. So that's very important to me, number one. While I don't have a lot of friends, I am always very friendly in the work environment, working on the one of the 7 mountains of influence, this one being the media. And that's because I don't want to be around the wrong influences, because subtly, the wrong people, different values, a part of your series, Friends, that I'm listening to and internalizing, that kind of friendship can creep into your vocabulary, your vernacular, even your attitude about things. And I'm very, very careful about that. My wife certainly is probably the best source that I have, because she is steadfastly, resolutely focused on the foundation of God. So friendly, but I don't have a lot of friends, and clearly they have to be focused on the Word of God. You talk in your series about having the same values, and if they don't have the same values at this point, and it's not a matter of being mean, it's not a matter of being better than thou, I just know what my call is as far as the Lord is concerned, and I don't want to do anything to subtly, slowly pull away from that, because we know that the evil one is slick, he's very sneaky, very deceptive, so I don't want to give him even an open door. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very good. Talk to the young people tonight. Of course, we got a lot of young people in the room that are making choices about friendships, high school, college, those kind of things. And what would you say, what wisdom would you share with them about starting their life out when it comes to the relationships of life, including choosing a marriage partner?
Hopefully, the home life is one that's founded on the Word of God. And I know as they get older, they think that parents have no clue as to what's going on. They're old school. But you know what? Old school is all good if it's rooted in the Word of God. Heavens, look at some of the old folks that I work around and that many of us work around. Some who are so influenced by what's going on in society. And to hear some of our leaders, when asked a question about the Bible, is it applicable today? Many will say, well, no, that was good for yesteryear, or that was applicable 100, 200, 1,000 years ago. Again, the Word of God says that the Word of God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So for young folks, please get that internalized to know that is what is to be the governor in everything that you do, because your friends, while well-intentioned, can certainly pull you off stride as well. And if I could add one more thing about friends, kind of a humorous example that the great ex-basketball player Bill Russell once said. I was blessed to do an interview with some of the New England great athletes, and Bill Russell was one of the athletes up on the stage. So, and he mentioned that he had a very limited group of friends, very tight-knit group. And I said, well, Mr. Russell, suppose you meet somebody that you really like, and you like to have them in that group of friends. What would you do? And he paused for a second and he said, well, somebody's got to go. That's all there is to it. So the point is, you've got to have that group that you know and trust and feel good about and that are grounded in the Word of God.
So good, yeah. You know, when it comes to the world in which we live today, we hear people talk about being spiritual and spirituality, and that phrase gets used a lot in our culture today, and it gets defined in lots of different ways. Even people that kind of identify, so yeah, I'm a Christian. But they use it very loosely. Can you talk for a minute, James, in your own life, and really biblically, from a biblical perspective, what does it mean to you? And what do you feel the Bible means when it speaks of truly being a Christ follower? What does it mean to be a Christian in today's culture?
I think we have to even be more critical today than yesterday. I used to work at Fox Sports in Hollywood. And it is not, and I'm not picking on Hollywood because it actually is replete throughout society today. Many people going up to get an award will say, well, I'm a very spiritual person, or even I'm a Christian. But if you dig inside of that and ask them, well, what do you mean? They have a completely different definition and meaning of being spiritual or being a Christian. For us, the only guide is the Word of God. Everything emanates from the Word of God, because there are many people today who, while they may be well-intentioned by saying, well, I'm a Christian, they are what I like to call a la carte Christians. You go to the restaurant, I'm going to have this, I won't do that. No, I think I'll take this. And well, that's the way they are about Christianity. They will go through what I've learned from one of the most excellent teachers of the Bible in the country, Pastor Dale. What I learned again is that you need to be crystal clear what that means, because your definition of Christianity isn't my definition of Christianity, and we need to make certain we're being very discerning in what we hear and not get hoodwinked in that. So whatever the Bible's definition of Christianity is, that's what my definition is. And when people ask me, I say very simply, I believe in every jot and tittle in the Word of God. The Bible is God-breathed. It is the infallible, inerrant Word of God. And everything that's delineated in there, principles, precepts, and promises, that's what I am. That's not the case with many people out there. And I'm not sitting up here trying to be condescending, but to your point, many people will use the words that sound good, but they aren't at all, and we need to be very careful.
So Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except by me. So what does that mean to you? When you hear those words of Jesus, when Jesus said, I am, he didn't say I am a way, a truth, a life. He said, I am the way, a definite article there, the way, the truth, the life. What does that mean to James Brown?
And you are certainly, as I mentioned before, one of the finest teachers ever. So you could delineate exactly when that happened, but before the word Christian was used, or we were called Christians, it was, we are followers of the way. And God said, Jesus, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So what that means to me is exactly what it says. God says to follow me. Everything that I say, you can feel that is the way. No, not feel, no, that's the way. The Apostle Paul, even as he was teaching those who were following him, he says, follow me as I follow Jesus Christ. and it's in every way. Did he not, Paul, get very upset in the book of Galatians? He was pretty strident in that, was he not, Pastor Dale, when he said, you know, who fooled you, in essence, in today's contemporary language? If anybody other than what we have said, if an angel from heaven comes out and talks to you about some other gospel other than what we said, that person is accursed. So the fact of the matter is, the way, to me, it is so very clear and simple. It is following Jesus. I know we wore the wristlets back in the day, WWJD, but you know what? It really has a very serious meaning to it. What would Jesus do? And I think if you follow what he did, we're on safe territory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm going to press you a little bit further if that's okay.
Okay, please.
If someone's sitting here tonight and they're wondering, am I really a Christian? How would you describe for them what steps they need to take to become a follower of Jesus? What's that process? How do they clear up